387. In Jinan, there was an old man who made a living by selling wine. One day, he sent his son, Xiao Er, to Qi River to collect a wine debt. As soon as Xiao Er left the west gate, he suddenly saw his elder brother, Ada, who had been dead for a long time. Xiao Er asked in surprise, "How did my brother come here?" Ada replied, "There is a doubtful case in the underworld, and they need you to testify." Upon hearing this, Xiao Er changed his color and scolded his brother. Ada pointed to a man behind him who looked like a bailiff and said, "There is an official here. I have no choice." He beckoned to Xiao Er, who unconsciously started running with them. After running for a night, they arrived at the foot of Mount Tai and suddenly saw a yamen. Just as they were about to enter, many people rushed out. The man, who looked like a bailiff, asked, "How is the situation?" One of them replied, "No need to go in anymore. It's settled." Upon hearing this, the bailiff released Xiao Er and let him go home. Ada was worried that his younger brother had no money, so after the thought for a while, he took Xiao Er and left. After walking about 20 or 30 miles, they entered a village and came to the eaves of a house. The bailiff instructed Xiao Er, "If someone comes out of this house, you ask him to send you home. If he refuses, just say it was Wang Huolang who said so." After saying this, he left. Xiao Er immediately lost consciousness and fell stiff to the ground. After dawn, the owner of the house came out and saw a person lying outside the door, which was very shocking. After waiting for a while, Xiao Er gradually woke up. The owner helped him into the house and fed him some food. Only then did Xiao Er tell his hometown and ask the owner to send him home. The owner was in a difficult situation, so Xiao Er said as the bailiff had instructed. When the owner heard this, he was extremely frightened and hurriedly rented a donkey to send Xiao Er home. When they got home, Xiao Er offered him money, but he refused to accept it. When asked why, he didn't say. After saying goodbye, he left on his own. Wang, a royal servant from Jiaozhou, was ordered to go on a mission to the Ryukyu kingdom. While the ship was sailing in the sea, a giant dragon suddenly fell from the clouds, stirring up waves several meters high. The dragon was half floating and half sinking, with its head held high and its chin resting on the ship, its eyes half closed, looking exhausted. The people on the ship were very panicked, stopped the oars, and dared not move. The boatman said, "This is a tired dragon that has been raining in the sky." Wang quickly hung the imperial edict on the dragon's head and prayed with everyone. After a while, the giant dragon leisurely swam away. As soon as the ship sailed, another dragon fell from the sky, just like the last time. 3 or 4 fell one after another within a day. After another day, the boatman asked people to prepare more white rice and warned everyone. "We are not far from the clear water pool. If you see anything, just throw rice into the water. You must be quiet and you cannot make noise." After a while, the ship came to a place where the seawater was clear and you could see the bottom. Underneath, a group of giant dragons of 5 colors were lurking like basins and urns, lying one by one on the seabed. Some were crawling sinuously, and the scales, manes, claws, and teeth on the dragon's body could be counted clearly. When the people on the ship saw it, they were terrified, held their breath, closed their eyes, and dared not look or move. Only the boatmen kept grabbing rice and throwing it into the sea. After a long time, when they saw the color of the sea gradually turning dark black, someone dared to speak up and ask the boatman the reason for throwing rice. The boatman replied, "The dragon is afraid of maggots, afraid that maggots will drill into its scales. White rice is like maggots, so when the dragon sees it, it often lurks at the bottom of the sea, and the ship sails on it, which can ensure safety." Verse 89. In Chang'an, there was a scholar named Jia Zilong. One day, he happened to pass by a nearby alley and saw a man from out of town who was elegant and relaxed. Jia asked him and found out that his surname was ZHEN. He was from Xianyang, and he rented a house in Chang'an. Jia admired him in his heart. The next day, Jia Zilong went to visit ZHEN's residence and delivered his business card, but it happened that ZHEN was not at home. He visited 3 times in total, but never met him. Jia then secretly sent someone to make sure he was at home before visiting. ZHEN avoided and refused to come out. Jia broke in to search for him, and then he came out. The two of them talked heartily, and they both felt that they had met late and were very happy. Jia sent a boy to buy wine at ZHEN's residence. ZHEN was good at drinking and could tell elegant jokes, and the two were very happy. When the wine was about to run out, ZHEN rummaged through his box and took out a drinking utensil, which was a large white jade cup, but it had no bottom. When a small cup of wine was poured into it, it was full. When the small cup scooped wine into the pot, the wine in the large jade cup did not decrease at all. Jia found it very magical and insisted on asking ZHEN to teach this magic. ZHEN said, "You have no other fault, but you have not yet rid yourself of greed. This is a secret magic of the immortals. How can I teach it to you?" Jia said, "It's really wrong. Where am I greedy? I occasionally have some extravagant hopes, just because of poverty." He laughed, and the two parted. Since then, the two have been close and inseparable. Whenever Jia was in trouble and short of money, ZHEN would take out a piece of black stone, blow on it, and then chant some spells, use it to grind tiles and rubble, and the tiles and rubble would immediately turn into silver. He took it out and gave it to Jia. Each time it was just enough for Jia to use, and there was never any surplus. Every time Jia asked for more silver to be changed, ZHEN would say, "I said you are greedy. How about it? How about it?" Jia thought that if he asked openly, he would definitely not get it, so he planned to steal the black stone to blackmail him while ZHEN was asleep. One day, after the two had finished drinking and went to bed, Jia got up secretly and searched in ZHEN's clothes. ZHEN noticed it and said, "You really have no conscience. I can't get along with you anymore." So he bid farewell to Jia and moved to another place. More than a year later, Jia Zilong was playing by the river and saw a shiny and smooth stone that looked like the one ZHEN had. Jia picked it up and treasured it like a gem. A few days later, ZHEN suddenly came, looking lost and as if he had lost something. Jia comforted him and asked what was wrong. ZHEN said, "The stone you saw before is a gold-pointing stone of the immortals. I used to travel with Bao Zhenzi, who liked my straightforward character and gave me this stone. But I lost it after getting drunk. I divined in secret that it should be with you. If you have the grace of return to me, I will never forget to repay you." Jia laughed and said, "I never dare to deceive my friends in my life. Indeed, as you divined, the stone is with me. But who knows more about Guanzhong's poverty than Bao Shuya? What are you going to do?" ZHEN then promised to give him 100 taels of silver. Jia said, "100 taels of silver is not a small amount, but please teach me the mantra. I will try it myself, then I will have no regrets." ZHEN was afraid that Jia would not keep his word. Jia said, "You are an immortal? How can you not understand me? Am I a person who breaks my promise to my friends?" ZHEN then taught Jia the mantra. Jia turned around and saw a huge stone on the steps, so he wanted to try it on it. ZHEN held his arm and didn't let him go forward to grind. Jia bent down to pick up half a brick and put it on the stone anvil and said, "Like this big, not much, right?" ZHEN let him try. Jia didn't grind the half brick, but the stone anvil. ZHEN's expression changed and he wanted to fight with Jia, but the stone anvil had turned into a whole piece of gold. Jia returned the stone to ZHEN. ZHEN sighed and said, "It's like this now, what else can I say? But I casually give blessings and wealth to others, I must suffer the punishment of heaven. If you want to make up for my sins, please do good deeds and donate 100 coffins and 100 cotton clothes." "Are you willing to do this?" Jia said. "The reason why I want to get gold is not to hoard it. Do you still see me as a miser?" ZHEN happily left. After Jia got the gold, he donated and did business at the same time. In less than 3 years, the number of donations was enough. ZHEN suddenly came, holding Jia's hand, and said, "You are really a trustworthy and righteous person. After we parted, the God of Fortune reported to the Jade Emperor and removed my immortal status. Thanks to your generous donations, now the merit has offset the sin. I hope you encourage yourself and don't stop doing good deeds." Jia asked him which part of the gods in the sky he was from. ZHEN said, "I am a fox with Taoism. My background is very humble. I can't bear the entanglement of sin, so I love myself very much in my life. I don't dare to do anything wrong." Jia set up a wine banquet, and ZHEN drank with him as before. Jia lived to be over 90 years old, and the fox fairy often came to his house. A certain person in Changshan County sells medicine that can detoxify realgar, arsenic trioxide. Even if the patient is critically ill from poisoning, there is no one who cannot be saved by pouring his medicine. But he keeps his prescription secret, even from relatives and friends. One day, he was arrested because he was involved in a case. His nephew sent him food in jail and secretly put Realgar in the food. He waited for him to finish eating before telling him. The person didn't believe it, and after a while his stomach started to churn. He was shocked and cursed. "Beast, go! Although there is still some medicine at home, I'm afraid it's too far away. Hurry up and find B. Lee in the city and grind it into powder. A cup of clear water, hurry up and bring it." His nephew did as he said. By the time he brought it back, he was about to die from vomiting and diarrhea. He hurriedly poured the medicine down him, and he immediately got better. This prescription was only then passed out. This is also like the fox fairy who keeps his stone secret and does not pass it on to people. Hat 391. Peng ERZENG, Han Gongfu from Yuchang, recounted the following incident. Once, I was walking with my fellow townsman, Peng ERZENG. Suddenly, I looked back and noticed he was missing, but his donkey was still following behind. I then heard a cry for help. Listening closely, I realized the sound was coming from a luggage bag on the donkey's back. The bag appeared to be bulging and leaning to one side but didn't fall. Curious and concerned, I decided to open the bag, but it was tightly sewn shut. I hurriedly cut it open with a knife and was astonished to find Peng ERZENG inside, contorted like a dog. After helping him out, I asked him how he ended up there, but he was just as puzzled. Later, I learned that his family had been troubled by a fox spirit, and strange things like this happened frequently. Shat 392. XIAN Wang Ruiting, a young master from Changshan County, and was known for his ability to divine and interpret hexagrams. He often summoned a spirit who claimed to be XIAN, a disciple of Lu Dongbin. Some believed XIAN was actually the immortal crane associated with Lu Dongbin. XIAN enjoyed discussing literature and composing poetry with people. Historian Li ZHEN was among those who took XIAN as a teacher, benefiting greatly from his guidance. XIAN's corrections were precise and clear, helping Li ZHEN pass the imperial examinations. Many scholars and literati were drawn to XIAN for his wisdom, though he preferred to focus on principles rather than predict fortunes. In the Xinwei year, Wen Zongzhu came to Jinan to conduct the annual examination. After the exam, Wang Ruiting's friends asked XIAN to predict the rankings. XIAN reviewed their essays and commented on each. One of the examinees, who had a good relationship with Li Kuai from Liling County, presented Li Kuai's essay to XIAN for evaluation. XIAN initially rated it as first class. However, he soon wrote again, noting, "Although Li's essay merits first class, his luck is poor, and he will only achieve fourth class. It's perplexing. The essay and luck do not align. Does Wenzong ignore the quality of essays in his selection? Wait a moment. I will investigate." After a short while, XIAN wrote, "I visited the official residence where Wenzong was preoccupied with other matters, leaving the examination review to 6 or 7 guests. These guests, mostly wandering souls from the Hungry Ghost Road, had been imprisoned in darkness for centuries, damaging their perception. When rating the essays, they could only make indiscriminate judgments. A few were indeed trusted by humans, but the essays were sorted into sections, and it's unlikely they could keep up." Upon hearing this, everyone sought a solution. XIAN remarked, "The answer is known to all. Why ask again?" Understanding his implication, they informed Li Kuai. Frightened, Li Kuai consulted the imperial historian Sun Ziwu, who, after praising Li's essay, assured him that there was no reason it wouldn't be ranked first. Reassured, Li Kuai dismissed XIAN's prediction. However, when the results were published, Li Kuai indeed ranked 4th. Shocked, Sun Ziwu reviewed the essay repeatedly, unable to find any fault. He lamented, "Wen Zongzhu, renowned for his literary judgment, wouldn't make such absurd decisions. This must be the work of those ill-informed guests." This incident increased the admiration for XIAN's abilities, and many burned incense in gratitude. XIAN advised, Li should not be disheartened by temporary setbacks. He should circulate the wrongly judged essays widely to prove his merit. Following XIAN's counsel, Li Kuai worked diligently, and news of his situation reached Wenzong's residence. The next year, Li Kuai ranked 1st in the examination. XIAN's predictions were indeed extraordinary. Mr. Yishi remarked, With so many incompetent individuals in the guest house, it's no wonder that the idle beds in the capital's alley are filled every night. It's truly disheartening.